Baruch.
Hey, Baruch, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. You want to start with Isaiah 11, chapter
Sure.
11?
Sure. What part? You want to just read the whole thing?
Yeah, we'll just read chapter 11. I think it's fitting for the times right now.
All right. Isaiah chapter 11. And also for everyone, just for the record, they seem to be announcing peace.
Well, they signed the deal, right?
Well, it's a memorandum of understanding that, over the next 60 days, they're going to finalize the terms. We should talk a little bit about, Baruch part 2. We'll go there in a second, but yeah, no, it seems like they signed it, and then they have 60 days to finalize, which tells us sudden destruction is around the corner here, and so, and obviously we know that the reason all of this destruction is beginning is the great and dreadful day of the Most High has arrived, which is the resurrection of the true Messiah, King David, which is exactly what we're going to talk about when we look at Isaiah chapter 11. So let's pull up Isaiah chapter 11. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay, cool. And then while I do that, let's get the link for this because it is. All right, cool. So I'm going to put the link to the app that's finally out at the top there. All right, so let's go to Isaiah chapter 11. The book of Isaiah, chapter 11, verse 1. And there shall come forth a rod, which really should be a branch, really, or staff, right? And there shall come forth a staff out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. His, again, being Jesse. And notice the branch language that we see repeated in Zechariah chapter 6. The branch who rebuilds the second temple and sits on his throne and is a priest on his throne. And notice here, it doesn't say there shall come forth a staff out of the stem of David. For everyone out there who says, no, it's not David, but rather a descendant of David. If it's a descendant of David, we don't need to know that David's father is Jesse. We already know that. This is clearly telling you that this person comes from Jesse, which is exactly what we're told in, what was it, 1 Samuel 17:12?
The origin.
Yeah. All right, so verse 2. And the spirit of Ao shall rest upon him, the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and of the fear of Ao. Verse 3. And shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of Ao, and he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears. Verse 4. But with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall smite the earth with the staff of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips he shall slay the wicked. Verse 5. and righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his reins. Verse 6, the wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. Verse 7, and the cow and the bear shall feed, their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. Again, all of these verses prove that at that point, death has been eradicated, right? Again, so how can there be a sacrificial blood sacrifice system when the temple is rebuilt? If, as we see in these verses, death doesn't seem to be present anymore. Predators aren't predators, prey aren't prey.
No, they're coinciding together.
Mm-hmm. Verse 8, and the sucking child shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice's den. Let's look at a different translation there. Verse 8 here in the NET says, a baby will play over the hole of a snake, over the nest of a serpent, an infant will put his hands. Again, same idea. It doesn't seem like things are harming people in the future, right? Verse 9, they shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain. So notice, sacrificing an animal would be hurting, right? An animal.
Correct.
Destroying an animal, right? Because it clearly says, verse 9, they shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain. For the earth shall be full of the knowledge of Ao as the waters cover the sea.
I mean, I'm going to read it in the NET. They will no longer injure or destroy on my entire royal mountain, for there will be a universal submission to Ao's sovereignty, just as the waters completely cover the sea. So this is worldwide.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
A universal submission to Ao's sovereignty.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like over in Egypt is still going to exist, and the priests of Baal are going to be offering up sacrifices over there. It's going to stop. Verse 10.
Okay, sorry, 1 second. Verse 10. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, his rest shall be glorious.
Well, and again, why do we need to know it's Jesse? A root
Exactly.
of Jesse.
Why does it say root of Jesse? If the theology is correct that it's a descendant of David, this verse would say, in that day there shall be a root of David.
Yeah.
Right? But that's clearly not what it says. And I just want to check his stand. No, stand is amad. You would assume that should be the same word, though, as kun.
The NET says nations will look to him for guidance, and his residence will be majestic.
Yeah. One of the definitions is arise. So I would think that this should say, in that day there shall be a root of Jesse which shall arise,
like a
for a sign to the people.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So stand is also kun.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They obviously didn't use the same Hebrew word here, but it should be the same word. Because think about it. Let's go to Isaiah 46. If we go to Isaiah 46, and we look at verse 10, it says, declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand. This is the direct promise that the Messiah will be resurrected.
Repeat that, please.
Okay, so look at that. Declaring the end from the beginning. And then back up to verse 9. Isaiah 46, verse 9. Remember the former things of old, for I am God and there is none else. I am God and there is none like me. Verse 10. Declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cum right there.
Cum, arise.
Right? So basically what he's saying is the Messiah will be resurrected.
Mm-hmm.
And I will do all my pleasure. And then look at verse 11. Calling a ravenous bird from the east, and the man that executes my counsel from a far country. The man that executes the counsel of God is the Messiah. Hence why he says, my counsel shall stand. And so when you look at that language in Isaiah 11:10, it's the same idea, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. The Messiah, when he is resurrected, stands as the ensign of, this is the sign of the end of the world. What does that mean, ensign, by the way? Let's look that up.
Ensign is a signal. The Navy uses it as an ensign, a signal man. That's what an ensign is called. I should say pharaoh, but what is
Ness. It's a standard, ensign, pole, banner, something lifted up. You think?
You think?
A flag, a sail, by implication, a flagstaff, generally a singular, figuratively a token.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
Thunked on it.
And then notice verse 11, and it shall come to pass in that day. In what day? In the day that the root of Jesse stands for the ensign to the people, right? It shall come to pass in that day that Ah-Oh shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar and from Hathmath and from the islands of the sea.
That's the whole plain. It's got no T on it.
Verse 12, and he shall set up an ensign for the nations and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. I'll look at that again. That was verse 12. He shall set up.
The NET says he will lift a signal flag for the nations. So again, lift is to rise.
It's funny. It's NASA in Blue Letter Bible. NASA. To lift, bear. To lift. That's funny.
All of these are to raise up.
Yeah, to raise up, yeah.
All three of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, because you think about it, that's the sign, right? That's the sign of the end. That's the sign that his salvation will not tarry, right? And that he's going to regather his people.
Yeah.
Right? A prophet like Moses.
prophet like Moses.
Oh, man. Verse 13, look what it says here. And the envy also of Ephraim shall depart.
I think it should be reversed.
I think it's talking about people being jealous of Ephraim,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Well, Ephraim's jealousy will end and Judah's hostility will be eliminated.
Well, see, that's the thing. Why is it limited to Judah? Why wouldn't it be Israel?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Shouldn't that be so? The envy of those who, I mean, the envy of the tribe of Ephraim shall depart, right? Because it's basically like you think about like Korah, right? And Reuben, who wanted the position, right? Or Judah, right? With treacherous Judah now,
Well,
pretending David is from Judah.
the NET is saying here that Ephraim will no longer be jealous of Judah, and Judah will no longer be hostile towards Ephraim. And I don't.
Look, they're basically northern kingdom, southern kingdom. Ephraim was north,
Yeah,
Judah south. That's what they're saying. It's basically united house.
yeah, yeah. When he gathers everybody back, that's over with. Now, verse 14 is interesting. As are all of them.
Sorry, brother. Alex started talking to me.
Verse 14.
Yeah, verse 14. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines towards the west. They shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. Verse 15. And Ao shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea, and with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall smite it in the seven streams, and make men go over dry shod. All right. Verse 16. And there shall be a highway for the remnant of his people which shall be left, like it was as to Israel in the day that he came up out of the land of Egypt.
Well, the NET says there will be a highway leading out of Assyria for the remnant of his people, just as there was for Yashral when they went up out of the land of Egypt. They went by the highway. And you notice it says here, the last one, just as there was for Israel when they went up out of the land of Egypt. And it says, doesn't it say when they left the land of Egypt, they went through the wilderness? Usually when you're cutting through the wilderness, you're making your own new trail. You want to skip over to chapter 13?
Isaiah? Yeah.
Isaiah 13. Because this is what's coming after when Dao comes back.
All right. Isaiah chapter 13. Verse 1. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Verse 2. Lift you up a banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice to them. Shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles.
So look here at the NET. It says, verse 2, on a bare hill, raise a signal flag. Shout to them, wave your hand so they might enter the gates of the princes. So in chapter 11, Dao is the signal flag, the ensign.
It's NASA again. Lift up. Yeah.
In the blue letter?
Yeah. Same as that other word that we saw in the chapter before, or chapter 11, NASA. 11:10, Isaiah 11:10. Yeah, clearly it's talking about him being resurrected.
So this was all about the destruction in the end, but first he's got to be raised up here.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing, Daniel 12:1, right? What starts the time of trouble such as never was? The Prince David arising.
I wonder if did I use cum over there in 12:1?
No, they use, let's see what they use over there. I checked that though, because I thought, but they changed it to something else. To be too obvious, 12, Daniel 12, what was it? Maybe it's NASA. Ahmad. I think that's the same one that we saw in Isaiah 11:1. Let me confirm that.
See, in the NET, it's in Daniel 12:1. It says, "At that time, Michael, the great prince, who watches over your people, will arise." The NET uses arise.
Yeah. If you look at that though, it's the same verb as Isaiah 11:10. So that other one was Isaiah 11:1, NASA, or Isaiah 11:3, NASA. This one is the same thing as Isaiah 11:10 though. In that day there shall be a root of Jesse which shall stand for an ensign of the people. So Daniel 12:1 is the same verb as Isaiah 11:10. Yeah.
Verse 3.
I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. Verse 4, the noise of the multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people. A termless noise of kingdoms of nations gathered together. Ah, oh, the Lord of hosts musters the host of the battle. Verse 5, they come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Ah, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Verse 6, howl you, for the day of Ah, is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Verse 7, therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them, and they shall be in pain as a woman that travails. They shall be amazed at one another. Their faces shall be as flames. Brother, give me 1 second. All right. Behold, verse 9, behold, the day of Ao comes, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Now, that's the same language you see in Jeremiah 25:12 about leaving Babylon desolate, wholly desolate. Verse 10, for the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. Verse 11, and I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogance of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Verse 12, I will make man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Verse 3, therefore will I shake the heavens, and the earth shall be removed out of her place in the wrath of Ao, the Lord of hosts, in the day of his fierce anger. Verse 14, it shall be as the chaste roe, and as a sheep that no man takes up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone into his own land. Verse 15, everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined to them shall fall by the sword. Verse 16, their children shall also be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Verse 17, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Verse 18, their bows shall also dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. Verse 19, in Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And notice this is the same language again, Jeremiah 25:12. Verse 20, it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. Verse 21, but wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures. An owl shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. Verse 22, and the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. Yep, sounds about right.
That verse 20 made me think of what I was talking today about Isaiah 7:25, where the cattle and the sheep will graze there, talking about the destruction of Israel. And here it says, no shepherds will rest their flocks there, talking about Babylon. That's what that made me think of. So, you want to go over to Job? You want to go to Job 1 and visit that, or?
Yeah. Let's go to Job. Give me 1 second.
What we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, about the book of Job, the issues with the book of Job.
Yeah, there's issues with the book of Job. And contradictions. It breaks the first rule on the first page of.
Yeah, so just from a high level, what bothers me about the book of Job is the beginning and how God describes Job. Because if Job is perfect and upright, a man who fears God and eschews evil, it doesn't seem to make sense for God to reach out and strike him the way that he did. You know, like I was telling Billy James, my initial testimony, I'm pretty sure the title of it that Jared picked is happy is the man that God corrects. But if you look at my story compared to Job, I was in open rebellion. I had just taken a blood oath to become a Freemason, right? God had every right to reach out and touch me, and that's exactly what his word says. Though the sorrows of those who hasten after false gods shall increase. And that is what Psalm 16:4, I want to say. Let me make sure I get that right. Yes, Psalm 16:4. Their sorrow shall be multiplied that hasten after another God. Okay. And so we know that if we don't walk in his way, we don't keep in his Torah, we are going to become a prey, and it's open season on us. We know that. And he's given the children of Israel as an example of that. But again, notice that was a righteous judgment. The children of Israel rebelled and walked away from him. They weren't innocent, right? Again, like the idea of Job seems to match the idea that we're told in the toilet, that an innocent man is punished, right? For no reason. Okay. But then what really bothered me today that made me look at it again closely was the stark contrast between how Satan approaches God in Jasher when he accuses Abraham versus what happens when when Satan approaches God in the book of Job. Okay. And so that's really what I want to look at. And so let's take a look first at the book of Job. So if you look at the book of Job, this is how it opens. Job chapter 1, verse 1. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil. And there were born to him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance was also 7,000 sheep and 3,000 camel and 5,000 yoke of oxen and 500 she-asses and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the East. And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and sent and called for their sisters to eat and drink with.
Did we lose you?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
All right. So then let's see. Where was that? Verse 5?
Verse 6.
Yeah.
No,
Verse
I'm
6.
sorry. No,
Verse
you're
5.
right.
Verse 5. Yeah.
Five.
And it was so when the days of their feasting were gone about that Job sent and sanctified them and rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, "It may be that my sons have sinned," and cursed Job in their hearts. Thus did Job continuously. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before Ao, and Satan came along also among them. And here's the key. Okay, 7. And Ao said to Satan, "Whence comest thou?" Then Satan answered Ao and said, "From going forth to and from the earth, and from walking up and down it." verse 6 and verse 8. And here's the thing that bothers me. Look, it's God that churns Satan's attention to Job, not Satan churning God's attention to Job. Okay? Verse 8. And said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that fears God and eschews evil? So you notice it's God that points out Job's in terms of giving Satan's attention to him. And so, give me 1 second, brother. I'm going to go find the part in Jasher. Give me 1 second.
Well, there's also Satan intervenes down here in in verse 10. Well, he knows that you built the hedge around him and on every side, and you blessed the work of his hands and his livestock. Now he's telling that. So he knows that this guy has been blessed by and he's been protected by
And that would be correct and consistent with what's promised to you if you keep Torah.
Well, now we got to go to Psalms chapter 1.
Okay, go there while I look up. Let me find this in Jasher. Satan.
Well, so Psalms chapter 1, the first 3 verses. Blessed is the man that does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, nor stand in the way of sinners, nor sits at the seat
Where is she?
of the scornful.
In the house? Make sure she comes in the house.
But his delight, and he will be like a tree planted by the river of waters, whose fruit comes in its due season, and its leaf does not wither, and whatever he does shall prosper. So there's the promise of and I left out by meditating on the Torah. He meditates on the Torah day and night. And that's the promise, that if our nose is in the Torah and we meditate on the Torah day and night, whatever we do shall prosper. So is this a direct, it's in a direct rebellion against what's happening in Job 10. Because Job sounds like he's meditating on the Torah day and night.
Well, you're saying that the idea would be it's not a rebellion, it's consistent. Verse 10 is consistent with what Psalms 1 says. What then happens to Job is then contradicting what Psalms 1 says.
Yes, it's in rebellion to what happens to him.
Yeah.
From 10 when he points it out.
Yeah. And so let's take a look at the difference in terms of the initial conversation with God and Satan in the case of Abraham in the book of Jasher. Jasher chapter 22, verse 46. And the day arrived when the sons of God came and placed themselves before and Satan also came with the sons of God before Verse 47. And said to Satan, whence come you? And Satan answered and said, from going to and forth in the earth and from walking up and down in it. Verse 48. And said to Satan, what is your word to me concerning all the children of the earth? And Satan answered and said, I have seen all the children of the earth who serve you and remember you when they require anything from you. Verse 49. And when you give them the thing which they require from you, They sit at their ease and forsake you, and they remember you no more. Verse 50. Have you seen Abraham, the son of Terah, who at first had no children, and he served you and erected altars to you whenever he came, and he brought up offerings upon them, and he proclaimed your name continually to all the children of the earth. Verse 51. And now that his son Isaac is born to him, he has forsaken you. He has made a great feast for all the inhabitants of the land, and he has forgotten. Verse 52. For amidst all that he has done, he has brought you no offering, neither a sending smoke offering, nor peace offering, neither ox, lamb, nor goat of all that he killed on the day that his son was weaned. Verse 53, even from the time of his son's birth till now, being 37 years, he built no altar before you, nor brought any offering to you when he saw that you did give him what he requested before you, and therefore he forsook you. So notice, it's such a stark contrast. Satan's the one who turns God's attention to Abraham and makes all these accusations. And notice now verse 54. And said to Satan, have you thus considered my servant Abraham? For there is none like him upon the earth, a perfect and upright man before me, one that fears God and avoids evil. As I live, were I to say to him, bring up Isaac your son before me, he would not withhold him from me, much more if I told him to bring up an ascending smoke offering before me from his flock or his herds. Verse 55. And Satan answered and said, speak then now to Abraham as you have said, and you will see whether he will not this day transgress and cast aside your words. And I just find that to be too glaring of a difference to just ignore.
But is there a contradiction there that Satan is saying that he's rejected you for 37 years, and I was saying right after that he's upright, pure, and righteous.
Well, so this is what I would say. I think Satan is judging on the external, right?
Yeah.
He hasn't built any altars for you, right? But what if every day in his heart Abraham is praising
Exactly.
right? And giving him glory for the son that he promised him, Isaac.
Well, part of that thankfulness and glory is always telling what I is doing.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Now, again, it's interesting because, just because Satan makes the accusation doesn't mean that it's true. I don't know.
Well, if Satan is at the side of and he is righteous, and he's just a servant of and he's not against he's his carries out his judgment, then he would be righteous to have that job.
Yeah. And maybe it's true. Maybe Abraham took all for granted after that. Who knows?
Well, and then you got the whole world is speaking that the devil and Satan are the same thing, and he's wicked.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Reminds me of what Al Pacino in what's that movie when he played Satan?
Oh, Devil's Advocate.
Devil's Advocate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the world, and that's why I contend that Lucifer's in the background laughing that they're blaming Satan, which is Satan is a servant of the Most High. But that doesn't take away from what you're trying to point out. You're just, you have, there's differences here, similarities, but there's great difference here than who's the accuser.
Mm-hmm.
Between Job and Abraham.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one Satan accuses, the other God churns. So I would say the difference is in Jasher, Satan points God's attention to Abraham. In Job, God directs Satan's attention to Job.
You have an intersection here, with Jasher and Abraham, Job and Psalms chapter 1. Abram is upright and righteous and pure in all his ways, just like Job was.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Now, Abram wasn't attacked like Job was. I'd say initially, it says that Abraham wandered the deserts and his servants and his animals died and all that, those things happened, but nothing came against Abraham's family.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Or his descendants.
Yeah. So again, and then, as I mentioned, to me, I feel the story of Job makes God look like a lunatic.
There's a whole lot of that going on in the book.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. I think they want, obviously, whoever is the author, whether Lucifer or all of the people who are just listed for us in Psalms 83, right? They obviously have an interest in making, in casting false dispersions on the character of God. That he's not just, that he's not righteous, that his actions aren't in equity, right? And the book of Job, I think, really does a great job at conveying that. Now, as we mentioned, maybe they changed it, right? And there was something that Job had done, right? And they fudged it, also a possibility, right? But it's hard to ignore the contradiction of God reaching out and touching someone who God claims is perfect and upright in all his ways.
Well, that's why rule number 1 in the book is His word cannot contradict itself, and number 2, if the whole world's doing it, it's not of him. So, and we're breaking both of those rules. Well, I should say, the narrative is breaking both of those rules. Well, who's here? Yeah. Josh, what do you got to say? Or Stephanie? You guys there?
I'll invite you.
Hello?
Hi, sorry, I didn't put on the mic. I was here, but at one point I was thinking about something else, so I started looking into something in the meantime. It was about the 47 that we saw with when Adam and Eve got kicked out of the garden.
And the flood?
Sorry? Yeah.
And the flood?
Yeah, I was looking at the first day of Passover, and between that and the 47th day of the year, verses in the Bible had 33. And then I started rereading again Jubilees. And then now I actually think I was incorrect that they weren't kicked out on the 47th day. And I think now it makes more sense to me.
I need you to help me with
Well, but it's
Um,
just Satan showed up on the 47th day. But that's
well, it says when they got kicked out, it was they had completed 7 years exactly in the garden, and it was the 17th day of the second month. But before they entered the garden, they were in Eden, but not in the garden. And Adam was there 40 days, and Eve was there 80 days.
right. But I think the point is that on the 17th day of the second month is when Satan entered into the garden and basically, they fell.
Eve eats the fruit. Yeah, I think that's the
And
day Eve eats the fruit.
and then at the end of Jubilees, chapter 3, it says how they left the garden in the 4th month on the new moon. Something along those lines. I'd have to pull it up to be exact.
Well,
So then I thought 80 plus 47. Then I tried to look at Miron's calendar, but I couldn't see where it says the new moon.
well, it just
See
says that
that?
it won't have new moon; it'll have new month.
Yeah. Okay. Didn't see that part either though.
But that wouldn't be a new month if it's in. So that could actually be new moon. Like they left on a new moon, which would have been not in the first of the month. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, the
It
new
says and
moon.
on the it says on the new month of the on the new moon of the 4th month, Adam and his wife went forth from the Garden of Eden, and they dwelt in the land of Elda, in the land of their creation.
So that's basically saying that the first day of summer, they were thrown out of the Garden of Eden.
Well, and then again, a new moon is when the sliver of the new moon. It's the dark of the moon. It's basically the day after the dark of the moon. So I don't think it's a good day to leave. Um, I'm saying that's what the world calls it. I would call a new moon a full moon, but they're saying the birth after the waning, when the moon goes down to nothing, to total black, and then the next day is the first sliver. That's called a new moon. I never did understand that. So is that 3 months is the first day of summer, or is that 4 months the first day of summer? Because the seasons change every 3 months. So what was your conclusion, Stephanie?
Sorry, my phone, since I was outside, it actually took me out of Clubhouse, and then so I
Oh,
missed part of that, unfortunately.
it's all right. We were just saying that I was just explaining that a new moon is what they call after the dark of the moon, a full dark moon. The next day is a sliver of the new moon. That's what they call a new moon. So it really doesn't make sense that they would leave in the dark. They would leave in the light of the moon.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a worldly definition. I'm not getting caught up in that.
Yeah, no, I would imagine it's first. It shouldn't be new month. It should be new month, just like every other place you see new moon.
Yeah, I don't know, because I mean, it does say on verse 17, and after the completion of the 7 years, which he had completed there 7 years exactly, and in the second month, on the 17th day of the month, the serpent came and approached the woman.
Mm-hmm. So the question is, if he was in there for 7 years, and on the 17th day of the second month, that's 7 years and 1 month and 17 days. How does it say that Adam was only in the garden for 40 days? How does that work? Hello? Did we lose you again? Um,
You know what's fascinating about that? There's another one of their favorite numbers. If you go from the second month, 17th day, to the fourth month, first day, that's 44 days in between.
okay. So,
Also, I think in the New Testament, in the toilet, from his crucifixion to being taken up to heaven is 44 days.
all right. So what you're saying is on the. Oh, Stephanie keeps saying she's getting kicked off a Clubhouse. Is there a reason for that, Brother Mayor?
Gotta be a reception.
Just her reception?
Yeah, I'm not doing anything.
I mean, you would think that. Well, anyway, I don't know for any other reason. So what you were saying was,
I'm saying, think about that. So if I'm in the 17th day, if I add 13, that ends the second month. And then I add 30. Okay. So that's at 43, right? But then I have the summer solstice, 31, 331, which makes it 44.
mhm.
And so between when they ate the fruit and their eviction, it's 44 days.
Mhm. Just do the math because it's all numbers. Do we have to invite her back on? Do we have to do anything to let her come back
Is she
on?
gone? Sorry, I'm not
No,
looking. Hold on.
I got back on. It keeps knocking me off when I think it's my reception though. It keeps kicking me out after I start talking for a little bit.
If you're outside, I mean, outside, you think you get better reception than inside.
Not at my house.
Yeah.
Not at your house.
No.
You're breaking up.
The reception bad again.
You want to finish what you were saying?
So what was it that you guys were saying or thought of that? I would like to dig into it, but just because I feel like the math doesn't add up like that, but
Well, my question was, or you said he was 7 years, okay, in the garden. And then on the 17th day of the second month, which is 7 years and 47 days,
mhm.
how does that make him only 40 days in the Garden of Eden?
No, it says that he was 40 days in the land. Hold on, I'll have to bring up that verse. It was 40 days before he put him into the garden.
Okay.
Okay. verse 9. And after Adam had completed 40 days in the land where he had been created, we brought him into the Garden of Eden to till and keep it. But his wife they brought in on the 80th day, and after this she entered into the Garden of Eden.
Okay, that makes more sense. Well,
So then if I did 80,
did we lose you again? Because you were breaking up real bad, even if you're in the house. I know the weather's, this front is coming up through here. So there's going to be a lot of storms. Did we lose you? 6 p.m. Mayron, is it raining there?
I'm sorry, what?
Is it raining there?
Yeah, it's raining there now. It's raining here now. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like. That's why I was asking. We must have lost Stephanie. So, going back to Job, I was reading after we talked today. I was reading in 1 Samuel 2:7 about Eli with Phineas and Hophni, and how it says that Eli rebuked his children, and they didn't listen to him. And then rebuked all three of them for acting the same way. So I was trying to think of, who else was so-called righteous, and I was thinking of Eli, but it points out that was definitely coming against Eli also, because it's implying that he was doing the same thing, skimming off the top. So I was considering people. I went to, I was thinking of Daniel. What was Daniel's deal? Well, Daniel got caught up in the Exodus, went to Babylon, but Daniel's heart never wavered. Pardon?
You mean exile?
Exile, yeah. And Daniel's heart never wavered. And then I was thinking of Isaiah. Isaiah's heart never wavered. Jeremiah never wavered. And so I said, now here's another thing. It says in 2 Samuel 2:7, I was going to bring this up to you. I just remembered it. That talking about when David was going out with the Philistines to fight Saul. And the Philistine commander said, hey, wait a minute. What's David doing here? It'll be on our own heads if he turns against us in battle. So the point I'm trying to make is this is another wrong. Why would David go to war against Saul when 2 times he had the chance to kill him, but he never touched him because he said he was anointed. So why would he be going out to war with the Philistines? And why would he even come to the Philistines' camp?
But that's
that,
different though, because the Philistines aren't of God, though. Isn't that the difference?
well, but wouldn't he look to Ao to protect him, to say, hey, Saul's, trying to find me, and he went to the Philistines, his enemy, to find refuge? Seems kind of odd.
Well, isn't that how God protected him, though?
Well, yeah, he used the Philistines to protect him.
Mhm.
Exactly. He had favor in the eyes of the Philistines after all he did to the Philistines. But I was pondering that when I came across that, and and then I was thinking of Abraham and trying to think of all these people like Eli, that failed.
Well, if you think about it, I think Eli's issue was probably sparing his rod, sparing the rod with his children, right? Because it says the sons of Eli were worthless men, right? And, isn't that going to fall on the father?
Exactly. Yeah. No, exactly. Mm. But just trying to do some juggling here of this. When we were talking about Job today, carrying it over. Oh, so what is the end game of Job?
So as I mentioned, to me, it's this idea to plant this seed in your mind that when disaster strikes your life because you're swimming in the toilet in open idolatry to the Most High, or whatever, whether you're in the unholy Quran or Second Temple, wherever you are, right? That when God reaches out to touch you in an effort to wake you up, you say to yourself, "Oh, this is Satan attacking me because I'm walking with God."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because again, we know what was it? Psalm 16:4 is true. The sorrows of those that follow after other gods will increase. It's a promise. So you think about it, they have to create a narrative to explain to you why your life is miserable.
Yeah, that's Deuteronomy 28. I'm going to send you
Blessings and curses.
to a land you know not, and you're going to serve other gods.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when you serve other gods, your sorrows increase. See the state of the children of Israel.
Exactly. Well, nobody knows as best as them is the sorrows that they've carried since 3,500 years ago, roughly.
Uh-huh.
It's a long time of abuse. It's not long. It's long in our minds, but it's not long in ours. That's how he describes them. When he gathers them back, he said, "I'm not going to be angry with you forever, but just a short time." So a short time in his life is 3,500 years. How do you compare them to eternity? Did you ever get a chance to listen to the video about the Apaches?
Yeah.
Where they called out Syria.
Mm-hmm.
What is a Mexican general in Texas writing a letter to the government, back in Mexico City, Mexico, about how the Apaches were so excellent in war that it reminded him of the Assyrians when the toilet didn't even exist over there, allegedly. I mean, it's screaming with its fingerprints all over it that, yeah, he's talking about the Assyrians that were here in the beginning of it all. Israel is here. Jerusalem is here. Damascus is here. The Assyrians is here. Egypt is here. Babylon's in Canada, Northeast U.S. And we can go on and on. A Mexican general. It's amazing how they've destroyed history and rewritten everything, including the book.
But it was Brooke says it, right? The fourth beast.
You want to read that?
About the beast. I gotta find it. Give me 1 second.
Fourth beast?
But the hides the truth, conceals the truth from the world.
Mm-hmm. No.
Let me find
Imagine that.
Yeah, here we go. 2 Baruch chapter 39, verse 5. And after these things, a fourth kingdom will arise, whose power will be harsh and evil, far beyond those which were before it. And it will rule many times as the forests on the plain, and it will hold fast for times, and will exalt itself more than the cedars of Lebanon. Verse 6, and by it the truth will be hidden.
The truth will be hidden. By who? The fourth beast.
The fourth beast. America.
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 America. The fourth beast. The new world emanated from here. Everything emanated from here. That's why I will bring you back to Egypt a second time on ships. Down the Mississippi. Down the Nile River. Mm-hmm.
We know that tomorrow is the Pharaoh's holiday of Freedom Day, Juneteenth.
Is what?
Freedom Day, Juneteenth.
Juneteenth?
Yeah, also known as Emancipation Day. It's a federal holiday in Babylon that celebrates or commemorates the emancipation of enslaved African Americans.
Oh, the Emancipation Proclamation.
It says that it commemorates, specifically marking the day in 1865 when Union troops arrived in Galveston, Texas to announce the end of slavery. It's remarkable that Babylon's troops showed up to declare the end of the exile that continues today.
to this day.
Let's
Yeah,
put Juneteenth in gematria.
Juneteenth. Emancipation Proclamation is when they wrote the 13th Amendment. They imagine the 13th, and that's when they became chattel property.
Mm-hmm.
The Israelites. That's what they moved them over to. They were not free. 40 acres and a mule, but you can't have any chickens, cow, anything else. You can just have.
No, you could have chickens. They said you can have chickens.
Oh, that's right. You could have chickens. That's right.
But nothing else.
You couldn't have cattle. You couldn't have sheep. You couldn't have goats. Nothing.
But you could have chickens.
But you were free.
Mm-hmm.
Is that why chicken is so popular today?
Well, I think it's, again, just the whole idea of Balak Balaam and the same strategy. Let's get them to love chicken. We know it's not clean. They clearly don't realize it's not clean. To be honest, whether some of them could care less whether it is or it isn't. I mean, they eat pork, so.
If you told them it was clean, if you told them it was unclean, they just argue the fact that no, it's not listed.
Oh, they would say, or they say this. They say, "Well, good thing it doesn't matter what goes into my mouth."
Yeah, Mayron.
It's what comes out of my mouth.
Mayron, you don't understand. Shiloh's a place. Good dog.
Man, oh man.
Mayron, it's chicken's not listed. How can you say that?
It's true. It says Fiddler on the Roof says so. So it's funny because he's arguing about something. Says there's a verse about a chicken. The rabbi's assistant says, there's no verse about what verse says that? He says, well, maybe it doesn't say that exactly, but somewhere there's a verse that says something about a chicken. And in fact, there is not a single verse anywhere in any of the Tanakh, right, that says anything about a chicken. The closest you have is the verse that they stole from Ezra or Baruch about I gather you as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings. That's the closest. And again, but that's not a reference to a chicken. All birds gather their chicks under their wings, correct?
In the nest,
Yeah. So
Mayron, they're not talking about pork. They meant forks.
No pork on the fork is what they meant.
Yeah, they meant we can't use forks. We got to use our hands. It's okay to eat pork.
Yeah.
He just said no forks.
It changed. That's the old law.
Oh, the old law.
Pig has magically become clean. It's better for you today than it was in the past.
Oh, that's done away with.
The evolution. It's the evolution of the pig.
That's the old law. This has been done away with. We're under the new law. Mm-hmm. Thou shalt eat what thy heart desireth. Unto this day.
Unto this day, yeah.
Unto this day. Well, but don't worry about it. The chicken place is closed on Sunday because they're a Christian outfit. I saw the guy brought up the ingredients in the chicken at what is the name of that place?
Oh yeah, Chick-fil-A, man. My favorite part of that video was the grilled chicken nuggets having 42 ingredients.
Yeah, it was 42 or something like that ingredients instead of
grilled chicken nuggets.
Grilled chicken.
Not even like the fried ones. Like, okay, because the fried one, you have like the bread and the coating. Okay, fine. You can see how you have a few more ingredients, right? But how on earth do grilled chicken nuggets, that's you taking chicken, putting it on a grill, how do you have 42 ingredients? You put salt, you put pepper, right? Maybe you put some other seasonings like I don't know, paprika. I mean, whatever people use, right? But like, you're not putting 42 seasonings on the chicken nugget.
Well, no, they weren't listed as that. They were listed as
Oh yeah, it was a poison. Yeah,
all these carcinogens.
yeah, it's also to kill you. Yeah, I saw they got surpassed as the America's preferred number one death trap to eat at restaurant. It's no longer Chick-fil-A.
What was it? McDonald's?
Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike's.
It's like a sandwich shop.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I know who that is, but they're saying that's the worst place to eat.
No, it's the number one fast food restaurant in America, surpassed Chick-fil-A.
Oh, Jersey Mike's surpassed.
It's funny because I saw something that said that Chick-fil-A, I think the average franchise makes 9.5 million a year in revenue.
Hmm.
And you know, I just want to emphasize for those of us who, you know, lose sight of that, the volume that that's talking about at those prices.
It's staggering.
It's staggering. And it makes one ponder where all these chickens or cows are coming from, right?
When there's a
Like for example, let's look at it. Let's just Google how many burgers, how many hamburgers does McDonald's sell per day? Here you go. You ready for it? 6.5 million burgers a day. 75 burgers every second, 4,500 burgers every minute, 270,000 burgers every hour.
Are you breaking up?
Hello?
Go ahead. Yeah, but
2.5 billion burgers a year. That means, hold on. Look at this. Let's read this part. To sustain this volume, industry analysts and McDonald's supply chain reports indicate that the company goes through a staggering amount of beef. For instance, McDonald's purchased 714 million pounds of beef in a single year to keep up with global demand.
714 million pounds. Okay. Just how much average beef is on one cow carcass?
Okay, that's a great question. So, how
ground beef?
How much ground beef from one cow? 280 to 220. 180 to 220. So let's see.
Right,
so 180 to 220. Let's go 220. Give them benefit of the doubt. So if I go 714 million divided by 220, that is 3.2 million cows. How many cows exist on Earth today? 1.5 billion. Man, that's crazy.
You got to take away India, though. There's a lot of cows in India they don't butcher.
Not including
India,
because they have a cow god, right?
Yeah, they don't eat beef there.
$1.35 billion. I guess it's possible.
Yeah, but you said 6 million burgers a day they sell?
6.5. Was that what it said? Yeah, 6.5 million hamburgers per day.
That doesn't seem like enough.
Enough meat. Yeah.
Yeah, enough burgers, enough meat.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows what's in there?
Well, isn't like I said, they're not building any more new cemeteries. Where's bodies going? We don't want to talk about that. I didn't know Jersey Mike's surpassed
Yeah, recently I just saw the news the other day.
Chick-fil-A. I thought McDonald's was the number one.
Nah, it hasn't been for a long time. A lot of people do not go near McDonald's, even people who eat fast food.
Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, I thought
Like
it
I
was
was like that
number
for
one.
a long time. Like I was like that. Like I would eat fast food, but I would never go to McDonald's.
Where would you go?
I would go to like Jack in the Box, Del Taco, Chick-fil-A,
What I
In and Out. Living in California, In and Out was my favorite. So
In and Out.
In and Out Burger, which apparently is coming to Tennessee, but their meat has blood in it. You can't eat it. You can only get the grilled cheese. Although I'm sure they put pig hairs in their bread.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to find anybody that's going to salt the meat overnight.
Oh, no chance. No chance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do not forget the covenant of salt.
Oh yeah, this covenant of salt. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the theory of blood.
All right, so you look at the first high priest. Okay, his name is Moses, and she says, "Because I drew him out of the water." You think about that. The waters obviously represents the multitudes, right? The nations, and so Moses was separated from the people. And then you think about what the covenant of salt does. It draws the blood, which is the life, right, out of the flesh. And so what I was pondering is that covenant, is it symbolic of the role of the priesthood and of the king, right? That their job is to extract the life, right? Get the people to achieve the salvation of God, right? Which is eternal life, right? By drawing that life out of the flesh that we know is going to decay.
The covenant
And
of
that's why it's
salt.
so interesting
And
that
that's
David
mentioned.
is of Moses' lineage,
Yeah. And David, the covenant of salt was made with David.
He's given the kingdom of Israel forever by a covenant of salt. 1 Chronicles 13:5. Let's go there.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a question for all the rebels out there who clearly seem to not know. 1 Chronicles, what was it? 13:5, did I say?
You said 13:5, but
5:13 maybe? No. 15:13 maybe? No. I'll find it. Here we go. Ought ye. Here we go. 2 Chronicles 13:5. Ought you not to know, you rebellious house of Israel, that O God of Israel gave the kingdom over Israel to David forever, even to him by a covenant of salt. I guess technically it could say even to him and his sons by a covenant of salt, because nobody other than his son ever reigned after him, right? but obviously it's his throne that's eternal. It's not a descendant of him that's going to sit on the throne. That's how you get the new toilet.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
all
what
the
verse?
Tanakh only people that say, no, it's not David, it's a descendant of David from the house of Judah.
Yeah. 2 Chronicles 13. Call out the scripture again.
2 Chronicles chapter 13, verse 5.
Yeah, verse 5. Yeah. In the NET, it says David and his dynasty, lasting dominion over Israel by a formal agreement. So this is where the King James shines. You rebellious house of Israel. Mm-hmm. No takers on that one. Let's read that.
Oh, man, oh, man.
By a covenant of salt. By a covenant of salt. You wanted to talk about the just for a minute, the painting on the website for Solomon. One greater than Solomon is here. You're breaking up.
Hello?
The lie greater than Solomon is here. Can you
What about it?
post that picture? Or that blog with the picture.
I think if I post the blog, the picture should show up. Here, let's see.
Yeah. Do you know that there's 8 flames on the menorah?
Oh, so that AI did that. In the actual picture, the menorahs are cut in half. It cuts at it's basically right up to the house and I, right? That's where it cuts. So you don't actually see all the menorah in the real one on either side. I had AI expand it to be the dimensions that I needed, and then it did that, and then I tried to get it to fix it, but AI is retarded, so I just left it.
Okay.
Yeah, but it cuts, so it cuts there, so you don't see how many. I would assume it has 7. I would assume it has 8 because that's what their menorah has, right? The Hanukkah menorah, but you can't tell.
I didn't know the Hanukkah menorah has 8.
Yeah, the Hanukkah menorah has 8.
Where'd they come up with that at?
That's a great question. Is that right? Let's see. I think that's right. I think the Hanukkah menorah is definitely different from God's menorah. How many candles on Hanukkah menorah? 9 candles. Yeah, exactly. 4 on each side with 1 in the middle instead of 3 on each side with 1 in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah, now I know that one. The candles that they light. Now, why is there 9? I don't know. There's one's for Elijah, I believe, because that's their Passover. They set the empty plate for Elijah, right? The seat.
Yeah, that's different from Hanukkah, though. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about Hanukkah. I know it's made up.
Go ask the rabbi. Yeah, free coffee for life. We'll take the deal. I'll take it. But I mean, what a picture of Hiram.
Oh yeah, it's crazy that's a literally piece of art that they have. I think in the Grand Lodge of London.
And I mean, what's the anchors away got to do up here, with the cross?
Oh, I'm sure there's something there. Yeah, no. And obviously the ladder, right? The ladder to heaven. Yeah.
Yeah, on the 10 Commandments, they got five lines on each tablet.
Oh, yeah.
Anchors away. And you're saying this was in London?
I think from what I remember, they said it was in the Grand Lodge of London.
Okay. Well, anything else?
I got nothing.
Okay. Well, just button down the hatches as the storm comes by.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All right, brother.
Shabbat Shalom. Baruch.
Shabbat Shalom.